All right, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review. This video is going to be a little different. I'm going to talk about an experience that I just had with a very important person in my life, and hopefully you'll be able to relate. This is a precursor to a longer video, or maybe like a series of videos that I will be releasing later in the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 business days. I don't know, the next week and a half total, right? So this past weekend on October, I think 14th, maybe the 13th actually, it was a Sunday. I did something crazy. So let me give you a little bit of backstory real quick. So a few weeks ago, maybe like 2 months ago, I found out that Jesse Michaels of Operation Ivy was going to be doing a guided tour at the Punk Rock Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada, right? I found out, I ran in the living room and I asked my wife, hey, what do you think we should do? Should I try to go to this? And I'm really making a go at doing the channel, my shop, and my label full time. And she says, how's work? And I said, I'm making some pretty good money right now. She's like, yeah, do it. So I buy a ticket to the thing. We get plane tickets. And then like a week, 2 or 3 weeks go by, and I end up meeting somebody and buying a very large collection of records and CDs and tapes for my shop. Spending literally almost every penny that I had in savings, right? The next day after that, I lost my job. Whatever, right? I've talked about that ad nauseum at this point. It sucks. It hurt. I'm fine now, right? But it was a really weird thing knowing that I had spent all this money on a plane ticket and a ticket to go watch this guided tour at the Punk Rock Museum. And I was in a weird place up here, right? I tell you all that so that you can understand the relevance of the money spent to go do this. It's not about anything other than like experiences in life. Money comes, money goes, but you only get to experience life once. And you only get to do things like this sometimes never, sometimes just once in your life. So when you get the opportunity to do something special, take it. I want to shout out my wife for supporting me in a way that nobody's ever done. She's got belief in me that nobody's ever had. And without her, this channel, our community we've got going here, guys, it would be gone. Okay? I know that. Nobody's perfect, including her, especially not me. But dang, bro, she's so amazing. And she has stepped up in a way I didn't quite know she was capable of doing in the last few weeks. So I love you, sweetheart, if you're seeing this. Everybody, you got to meet my wife one day. She's awesome. Okay, so here's the crazy part, though. So we get all this figured out, and it's like, okay, am I going to go? Yes, I'm going to go. So here's the story of my day in Las Vegas, because this is bananas, dude. So on Saturday, I went to work at the shop. I made a little bit of money, and I was feeling pretty good. And I was like, I'm going to go home. I'll do my live stream, and I'll go to bed 11 o'clock. Wake up at 5 to catch the plane at 7 a.m. to go to Vegas. Bro, I was antsy, and I couldn't sleep. I knew the next day I was going to go meet a hero of mine. And so I finally go to sleep. It's 2:30 in the morning. I wake up at 5. I get up. It's hard to get up. I almost didn't go. And I drive to the airport. I get there. I'm by myself. I'm not good at this. I've only left Texas twice at this point. Now 3 times, okay? I've only flown by myself once, and my wife was with me to the airport, so it was much easier. I get overwhelmed very easy. I've got anxiety. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I've got anxieties that are not normal. And so I get to the airport. I think I'm on time. I got an hour and a half before my flight leaves. I'm doing good. I park. I go inside. I take some notes where I parked at. I get inside. I'm asking some people hey, where do I go? So I get into the security line. At this point, I've got some time still. I finally get up through security. I have one of these cups. All right. It's called a Cody cup. It's just insulated. They have all kinds of brands, right? H-E-B in Texas makes Cody. They're pretty solid, man, but they're not cheap, right? My water stays cold all day. I have about an ounce of water in it, and I thought I'd poured it out. I guess I didn't take the lid off. I just opened the lid and poured it. I guess there's an ounce of water left in there. I get to security, TSA grabs my shit and searches me, and then they tell me I can either go back through the line and wait again, dump it all out again, go back through the line, and then recheck myself, or I can just chuck the cup. I look at the time. I'm like, okay, my flight leaves in 45 minutes. Should I go back through the line? I look over, and it's just getting too many people. And so they basically forced me to throw away one of my favorite cups of all time. It's the one you see in all my videos, the green cup. It's gone. And they don't sell that color anymore. Boo. Anyways, white people problems, right? First world problems. So I get in through there, and I'm trying to find my gate, and I'm walking through, and it's quite a ways away. And I finally see where I'm going. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then I hear my plane leaves at 7:30 in the morning. It is 7:04, and I hear, attention, Spirit Airline customers, this is the final call for boarding at blah, 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 to Las Vegas, Nevada. And I look at my boarding pass, and that's exactly where I'm going. Dude, I'm like 400 yards away from the fucking thing still, so I take off running. Basically, they leave early, of all things. Like, not a lot early, but a few minutes early. But I almost missed my flight, right? So if I had gone back to security, I would have missed my flight. Okay, so it's 7:30 in the morning in Houston. I slept 2 hours. I'm trying to fly. It's packed on that plane. I can't sleep. I'm antsy. I'm whatever, right? We fly into Vegas. It's beautiful. I get off the plane. I go to the airport. It's packed. There's slot machines everywhere. Loud noise. People freaking everywhere, right? I get outside. I got to wait in this, like, incredibly long line. As I'm waiting on this line for the bus to get to a rental car place, I decide I'm going to take Ubers. It's probably going to be cheaper. I don't have to park, this and that, yada, yada, yada. So I go from the airport to Wax Trax Records. Shout out Wax Trax Records. Wax Trax Records, excuse me. You know I can't go somewhere without going to a record store, right? I'm going to show you what I picked up real quick. It's just a few things. I've been on a real cassette kick lately. If anybody's wondering, I do have footage of the tour. Just to put that out there. I filmed the whole thing. I'll get to that in just a minute because there's something important you need to know about it. Okay, I got 2 copies of Nirvana Nevermind on cassette. And they're like really, really clean. Like, honestly, I would call one of them VG Plus. No, they're probably both VG Plus. All the print is legible. But these are old vintage cassettes. These aren't like reprints. Whoa, what is this? Oh, never mind. I thought I found an old receipt. I was all excited. I got 2 copies of Nevermind. I got 1 copy of In Utero. I got a copy of Ixnay on the Ombre, Offspring. And these are all in like super clean condition. The Nirvana ones had the original boxes with them. I need to replace the box on this one, but I got a copy of Earth AD Misfits. The case is a little grimy. I found a copy of Minor Threat. This is all in one record store, mind you. The only record store I've ever been to that had this much punk rock is mine. No, I've only been to a few places. I've never left Texas but a few times. Okay, these 2 I got to show you last. I got Danzig 2. Oh, no. Is it 2? Is it? Yeah, 2. Lucifuge with Mother on it. A few other good songs too. I got Beat the Bastards by The Exploited. I got No Control by Bad Religion. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Got No Control. Okay, the top 3 things that I got. Oh, and he gave me a NoFX Punk and Drublic CD because I bought a lot of stuff from him and it wasn't cheap. Oh, shout out to May's Garage, Johnny May. I met Johnny in Vegas, and he has purchased a record from me over the internet. Dude, super cool. They're from the UK. They're doing like an Airbnb work thing. Those guys are super rad. That actually matters too. Excuse me. I picked up a copy of Give 'Em Enough Rope by The Clash, still sealed. I got it because it was still sealed, and I think I know somebody at my store that might want this. But the 2 coolest things that I found, and I'm not a big fan of this band, I just couldn't resist. I couldn't leave it there. Christ the Album by Crass. And Cacophony by Rudimentary Peni. Like, these are both pretty scarce. So I did that, okay. And then I literally was like, oh man, what do I do now? I got like 3 hours till the tour. So at this point, it's like almost noon. And I had the tour at the museum doesn't start till 3:30. And so I was like, well, what do I do, man? I got all this time. And I thought, I'll just go to the museum and dick around. You know, I'll just go hang out. Whatever. It's not that weird. I'm sure plenty of people do that. And so I take an Uber over to the Punk Rock Museum. And it's just weird because there's nobody else there really, right? There's a few people milling around, but I don't know them, so I don't know, So I go and I put my stickers all over the place. I put them on the outside, on the inside, whatever, yada yada yada. I put some stickers in the Punk Rock Museum. They were cool with it. They're cool people that work there. And I'm looking around and I'm like, man, what do? I got like 3 hours to kill. And I look across the street, and about a mile away is the Strat, the hotel and casino. Well, that's where my wife and I stayed. And so I called my wife on the phone, and I just started walking. And I walked all the way to the Strat. And I gambled a little bit, and I won like $80 on slot machines. No, I won like 50 or 60 at first. I won like $60 on slot machines. I've got a system. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, I won a little bit of money. I don't want to lose my money. So what do? So I'm like, oh, I'm starving. I haven't really eaten anything. I haven't eaten at all this whole day. So I walk over to Carl's Jr. I have some lunch. Then I'm like, okay, it's hot, and I'm just ate. If I walk back, I might get sick and throw up. So I call it Uber. It's like a $5 Uber ride back over to the Punk Rock Museum. I go over there. I hang out inside, and I walk around. I get some photos. I talk to some people. A dude, shout out to Regal Beagle, Ramones core band. I ran into a homie from Regal Beagle in there just randomly. He knows me from Houston, and it was just so strange to run into him at the Punk Rock Museum. It was just, like the odds of that are so slim. And then I go downstairs, and I'm waiting around. I'm talking to people, and everybody's kind of like, hey, are you here for Jesse Michaels? I'm like, yeah, dude, for sure. And he shows up. Jesse Michaels is there. It's happening. We're doing the Punk Rock Museum tour with the singer of Operation Ivy. It's like, it's mind-blowing to me, man. Like, this dude he's a freaking legend, man. And to my understanding, is a little bit of a homebody, kind of an introvert. My wife is like that. Honestly, he reminded me of her a lot throughout this tour. And so we do the tour, and I film it all. The reason that I'm not going to put the whole thing up is because he asked very politely not to. I mean, it's my footage. It's a public place. Technically, I can do what I want, right? But I don't know, man. It's just something about being respectful in general that I kind of, I know I'm a punk rocker, right? But I also like really want people to treat me with respect. And so I thought, well, I was a little saddened by that when he said it. And I got it on film. I'll put that up later maybe, But he did say, he's like, put up small clips. I'll probably put up little chunks of it, right? It was a 2-hour tour, and it was amazing. And he said some stuff that's going to blow your mind. So like, wait until you watch this thing. I'm telling you, there's stuff in here that's going to blow your mind. I'm going to have to it's going to take some time. Over the next few days, I will go through and edit it and find some footage, and I'll take some notations, write down what's what, and I'll just be able to go and clip it and put it up. I want to make it look nice too, though, and I want to make it to where he is respected. It's important to me that he did this, because this is the kind of stuff where I documented it. I know it might get on people's nerves when I film stuff, but I'm documenting things that I think are important. And I'm also providing entertainment, and that's important to some people. Some people have a bad day. They just want to go watch a cool video. And I think I'm doing a lot of things. This is therapeutic for me, too. This channel is important. Whether some people agree with that or not, it's irrelevant. It's important. It's important to me, therefore it's important, right? But I think it's important to some of you too. I'm pretty sure. I get a lot of really sweet people talking to me, and I've been through a lot, and I've opened myself up on this channel. And if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me too. My Instagram and my email are in the description. And if it gets to where we're talking a lot and you need my phone number, I'll give that to you. It's okay. I'm hoping to somehow get a hold of Jesse Michaels. Hold on. So I got his buddy. Okay, something else I'll show you in a second. Sorry, something else I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so his homeboy gave me some stickers, dude. This dude is super cool, man. His name is Checo. I'm gonna reach out to him and see if maybe he wants to come tell me some stories on the channel. He used to go to Gilman and hang out, and he was friends with Jesse Michaels. But I got his information. So we do the tour, and I have like a mental breakdown at the end of it. It was so embarrassing. I just got completely overwhelmed. I think losing my job, it was a really low point in my life, and it was very embarrassing. And then it was also a setup, so it was real personal. And I thought I was okay, and I had like a couple of breakdowns a few weeks ago. And then while I was there, towards the end of the thing, I think all my emotions just collided, and I had like a nervous breakdown. I was crying. I was freaking out, bro. It was the weirdest thing. I had like walked off to the corner by myself, and this Checo dude seen me, and then Jesse seen me, and I was like trying to compose myself, and I could not get my shit together. It was one of the most embarrassing things in my entire life. I tell you this so that you understand that if you're having a bad day, people have bad days. That was a really, really, really embarrassing moment for me. I did this in front of one of my heroes. I just completely lost control of my emotions. And it wasn't like I was, that wasn't it at all. I was in my head, dude. Like, I'm 11 and a half years sober. This was the closest I've ever come to like being like, fuck it, I need to go do some drugs. And I don't really think like that anymore. It was so scary, dude. It was just so scary. I needed my wife there and she wasn't there. I was just all alone in this place where I'm not familiar, right? I was vulnerable and I just, whatever. He was amazing. He was just so sweet and understanding and nice and kind. He's a humble dude. The tour was amazing. It was full of really great stories. He didn't act like he knew stuff that he didn't. He was very humble. He was very kind. It's clear that he's kind of introverted. I don't know that he'll ever do the show. If he does, I'm going to try my best to just shut up and let him speak. I don't know. Anyways, he offered photographs and signatures, and I took advantage of the offer. But this is stuff for my personal collection. Besides one thing is for my friend Chris. None of this stuff is to sell or anything. This is all just for me to keep, right? So don't ask. That's not what I did it for. Maybe one day I'll give one away or something. But I'm not gonna. It's not really meant for like profitizing his signature or anything. But he did sign my Big Rig CD. Dude, check that out, dude. Expansive Heart. Oh, he signed my Kamen Rider CD that I just got from my buddy Kevin of Valhalla Cinema. This is that collection that I bought. This was in there, and I thought it would be so appropriate to have this signed because my life has taken a very strange turn. But what I also got signed was my friend Chris had a copy of the re-release of Op Ivy. Come on, thing. Anyways, I got that signed for Chris. Shout out to my boy Chris LeBay. That's my friend, very good friend of mine. I also I had an extra case and J card from the 1990 Operation Ivy cassette, and I got him to sign the extra that I'll probably display in my shop. Not for sale, just displayed. And then I got the actual J card for my actual cassette signed. This is my actual 1990 pre-barcode. I have a 1989 copy, but I didn't want to risk taking it to Las Vegas for anything. So he signed a bunch of stuff for me. He took a photo with me. I don't know. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my whole life. And I flew out there. I didn't get any sleep, dude. So after the thing, I'm so mortified because I had this like mental breakdown in front of him that I go inside. I can clean myself up in the bathroom, and I'm like really in a panic. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. I'm the biggest fool in the world. I'm such a fucking idiot. And I was just beating myself up. And I go outside, and I'm even right now, I'm like so embarrassed telling you guys this, but I don't know, man. Like, whatever, right? So I go outside and I walk outside of the bar area, and as I look to my right, there's a little table, and there's Checo and Jesse Michaels sitting out there. And I was like, oh no, dude, like I don't want them to think that I'm like hovering and trying to bother them or anything like that. And I started getting in my head again. And so I just walk across the parking lot to where they have like their gate where they close it at night. And I just stand there, and I'm just standing there by myself, and the whole parking lot's empty. They're talking, and I just have my back to them, and I'm trying so hard to just not be noticed. And I have my headphones in. I call my wife, and I'm talking to her, and I'm like shaking real bad still, and I'm having like this mental breakdown, this panic attack, right? And so then like all of a sudden, like, I hear their voices getting louder, and they're getting closer to me, and I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And I kind of turn like this, and I look, and Checo's walking up, and he's like, hey, man, what's up? And, we had talked a little bit in the tour. He was very cool. And he's like, hey, man, you good? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay, man. And I was just kind of like trying to not freak out again. And he's like, hey, are you going to the Jesus Lizard show? I'm trying to go out there. I don't know if you mentioned Jesse going or not, but I was like, I don't know, what time is it? And he's like, it's in like an hour. And I had like 5 hours to kill before the flight. And then he's like, so what time are you leaving? When do you go home? And I was like, oh, I got to go home tonight. He's like, damn, you really did fly in for the day. And I was like, yeah, I flew into Vegas solely to see Jesse Michaels do the tour. I would have just flown in, done that, and gone home if I needed to. I didn't care. I had to be home yesterday morning, Monday morning, to hang out with my kids while my wife went to work. That's priority number one. So we talked for a minute, and he's like, hey, you want me to give you a ride down off the strip or whatever? And so we just ultimately we hang out for a little bit, and he takes me down the strip. We chill in the car. We talk. I get his information. I had given Jesse Michaels my card and asked him if he wanted to do the podcast to reach out. I don't know. I was a mess when I asked him that. So I don't know, man. It was like simultaneously one of the most amazing things I've ever done and one of the worst feelings I've ever had. It was pretty intense. But like, I mean, is this going to happen now? It's like, is this a part of me now? Do I have like these depression kicks and this like panic attack shit? Like, I can't deal with that, dude. Like, I don't know what to do, right? So, yeah, so we go drive downtown and we're just talking. He's super, super nice. And, ultimately he's got to go pick up somebody else and whatever. It was super nice of him to take me somewhere. And so I get out and I go across the street and I'm walking down Fremont Street with that big thing and all the lights. And I just wanted to be like by myself in a giant crowd so I could just be left alone and like, yeah, just like zone out. And so I'm walking around. People are like fucking looking at me and shit. And I go get something to drink. I get a bottle of water and then I walk over to a casino and I'm like, well, I probably just had the worst experience you could have with somebody that you really look up to and admire. So I'll just lose some money. And I start gambling again and I come up another $40. So now I'm up like $120. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I call my wife and I figure out my boarding pass situation. And I'm like, well, I'll just go back to the airport and just try to take a nap or something. And I go back to the airport. It's a long thing. And I get there and I can't take a nap. I'm all wired up. So I get some food. And I go and I start playing this Frankenstein. Actually, I go play a Wheel of Fortune slot machine first, and I lose $40. And then I go back to this Frankenstein one, and I win 75. So I'm back up. I think I won. I think when it was all said and done, I was 160 up, like just under that, like 160 up in profits on that. So it helped cut the cost of my travel a little bit. Very unwise situation, I guess, or activity to do when you're not strapped with cash, you know, or when you're strapped for cash, I guess is the right term. But dude, I'm really reliving that scenario where I was like freaking out, and it's so embarrassing. Like, it was so bad. Like, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, yeah, he had a lot of cool stuff to say. That's a cool human being. Very humble, very smart, very, very normal. I like that. I've met a few people at that museum that were like doing like the tour thing, like the guides or whatever, like musicians and whatnot. And he was the most regular ass person out of all of them. I did the one with Steve DeMakes. Or is that Steve, right? No, Chris DeMakes. Excuse me, Chris DeMakes from Less Than Jake. Sorry. Chris DeMakes, and he was pretty. I mean, everybody's pretty normal, honestly, but he was the one that was the least weaved into the punk scene, I guess is the way I'll say it. Blue and Schroeder know quite a bit. He was actually really fun. I had a great time with that guy. He was all laughs. But this one was more like I felt like it was a legendary moment of my life. I felt like I checked something off of a bucket list that I'm very fortunate to have checked off. Like, I don't know anybody else on my channel that got to go to that. And so I feel very fortunate. I'm going to upload some footage. I'm going to respect his wishes and not just put the whole thing up. I may put the whole thing up on my Patreon solely for that small group of people to watch all of it, but I don't want to put it up publicly for people because it's just not, he asked us not to. And I think I was the only one that filmed the whole thing. So, you know, I film everything I go to. That's just what I do. I document stuff. It is what it is. People can get mad about it, but you know, but I try to be respectful. I try to do, like when I go in record stores, I typically ask, hey, can I film? If I go to a show, I say, hey, is it cool if I film the set? And, you know, I've never actually had anybody say anything like this to me before. It was kind of odd. It caught me off guard. It stung a little bit when he said it. I was like, oh. But I rewatched it a minute ago, and he does say like, hey, you know, I get it, but please don't put it all up there. I think he's self-conscious, and I respect that. So anything I put up will be edited. I don't know, man. I met Jesse Michaels, and he was so nice. He shook my hand. He asked me a couple questions. He was curious about who I was and where I was from. And You know what he didn't do that I was kind of sad? As I wore my custom Doom Regulator shirt and he didn't even like say nothing about it. He's probably weirded out by it. He's like, who is this fucking creepy stalker dude? Yeah, man, I flew to Vegas and I met one of my heroes. And, you know, some of the too cool for you punk types are going to probably call me a dork or whatever, but whatever, man. It is what it is. Call me a dork if you need to. I'm not that cool. Never claimed to be. So I love this stuff. It is who I am. It's woven in my DNA. It is part of who I am as a man. So yeah, I got a lot of good podcasts coming up. So just stay tuned. And then send out some positive vibes. If anybody out there that sees this knows Jesse Michaels, please tell him, hey, this guy's all right, dude. And see if he'll come talk to me. Otherwise, shout out to Checo. That guy was super cool, man. Thank you for your kindness, my friend, Jesse Michaels. Thank you for being so sweet, understanding, and kind, and just a legend. I asked him how that felt, and he's like, I don't think about it like that. I don't want to be a legend. I just want to be a guy that was existing in his time. Like, that's not exactly what he said. I'll put the video up. I'll put up a bunch of clips, man. I'm not going to... I have to show this footage to some degree. There's a lot of stuff I can cut out, though. There's a lot of, like, just bullshit talking. I don't want to put up stuff where we're just mumbling around talking. It's got to be important things. There's some stuff in here that's going to blow your mind, I promise. So stay tuned, all right? Thank you for hanging out and listening to my story for a little while, man. Half an hour's a long video, but, yeah, man. My life is interesting right now, and I'm glad you're here for the adventure. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the Punk Rock Review tonight. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Oh, yo, shout out to my Patreon members. Shout out to everybody that subbed the channel, bro. We hit 7K. We're on our way to the first plateau of 10,000 subscribers. So thank you. We can get there. We will get there. But I need you. Punk Rock Review needs you.